John Notstein here. Thought I'd do a review of the new Alpackalypse model by Alpacka Rafts. There's not a lot of information out on the Alpackalypse, and I know a lot of people are considering buying one but are a little bit hesitant because of the high price tag. So I thought I would go over some of the features and also compare it to my older raft, a 2011 Denali Llama. So I was able to score this demo model. I was able to run it for a couple weeks in some white water, take it out to the lake and roll it, and really put it through its paces. So without further ado, here's a little bit of review of some of the features of the new Alpackalypse and my thoughts on the raft. Okay.
What part?
This is my 2011 Alpacka Denali Llama, and it has some upgrades done to it that help out with whitewater. The first is a Jackson back band, and the back band is installed off of some D-rings that I also use for the thigh straps. And the thigh straps are right here, and they are on D-rings a little higher on the back and very low by the feet in the front. So this 2011 model also had an upgraded deck, which is a little bit heavier decking that you're going to see in the 2015 model. And if you look at the difference, you're going to see the big difference is the difference in size of the tubes. The back seems to be a little more extended on the new 2015 models, and the tubes on the Alpackalypse are definitely smaller. The tubes on my Denali Llama are about a foot wide, or a foot in diameter, and they're about 9 inches from what I saw on at least this model that I have of the Alpackalypse. Okay, on my 2011 model, this is the spray skirt that I use. You're going to see that in the new Alpackalypse that the spray skirt is a little bit heavier duty. Also, these are the poles that most of us are used to for whitewater models of the older boats. They are Easton tent stakes for the sides, and then PVC tubes that bend around on the ends. And those are going to be a little bit different in the new Alpackalypse model. So starting on this raft, some of the improvements you can see, the tubes are definitely smaller. The floor is heavier duty, a lot heavier duty than the old raft. The tubes are heavier duty, but they still feel the exact same to me. The improvement that I love the most about this raft is the brand new seat. The seat kind of hugs around you like a kayak. It's two parts, so there's actually two valves to the seat, and you inflate the bottom and then you inflate this back part, and this back part really comes around your middle section and holds you in. So one difference with the new model is the tent stakes have been upgraded. You can see that it's still an Easton tent stake, it looks like, but it's been wrapped in a piece of PVC, and you still have your PVCs for the ends. One big change is this has been extended and really beefed up. So you can slide these in much easier than the old rafts. They go in very quickly and feel a lot more secure. Get these in quick. Now, for those of you that are used to the old style, you'll notice how much faster that was and how little of a struggle it was to get those in. And a big difference, you can see, is this outside area has really been increased. So for those of you that may have popped your skirt because of water or your knees in the past, it doesn't happen as much because you have more area to tuck underneath. Couple other changes with the Alpackalypse. The spray skirt is heavier duty, and the other change with the spray skirt is that it has a little bit of relief for your knees. Because your knees have to come up so far with the knee cups, it's got a little bit relief so the spray skirt doesn't pop. And I have had no issues with the spray skirt popping on the runs that I've done. The other change is that Alpacka has included a small pump. And this pump just has a tube on the end, and it fits over the top of your valve, like so. And you're able to top your boat off. Standard on the Alpackalypse is also the cargo fly for hauling gear and sticking stuff in, because you don't want to put weight on the front of your pack raft. I hate putting any weight at all on the front of my pack raft. And then moving on, this is what Alpacka has designed instead of thigh straps, and these are the knee cups. These are pretty interesting. It's a little hard to see, but they have an aluminum tube that runs down the side, and it's secured in a couple spots, And then the knee cups are able to adjust around your knees for different sizes. And the end of the raft is a foot stop. So you're pushing against, and a lot of us have noticed that that's where we tend to wear the raft, is right on the floor at the bottom and right at the end of the raft. So this is a hard thing. It's also put in with a couple straps, so there's some adjustments that can be made. You can move it back to shorten it a little bit, or you can move it all the way forward. One thing I did notice with that and the knee cups is that your knees are up quite a bit, so what you end up doing is kind of driving your heel into the bottom of the boat. Okay, so showing you quickly how the new knee cups and the Alpackalypse work. You adjust the front to where you want your feet to be, and then you kind of move your knees in. There's a lot of adjustment points on them. You can lower or raise them in the front and the back, and then you can tighten them around your leg. So you move in to both. And what you're going to find is, once you get these adjusted, is that you're very secure in the raft and you're able to move the raft quite a bit. The next change is the heavier duty spray skirt is a lot easier to hook on the Alpacka than the older models, and that's because of the large area you have around the ram. Okay, so now you can see the relief in the knees, and that's because of the knee cups, you have to be up so far, and like I said before, what you can really tell is that you're really driving your heels down into the bottom of the boat. So if you have the Alpackalypse, you're going to want to make sure that you have some pretty good shoes that have some nice heels in them, otherwise you're going to beat your heels up a little bit. Okay, so my overall impressions of the new Alpackalypse, and I guess I'd like to say first that the Alpackalypse is made custom for each person, and so this boat this is a demo model and it didn't fit me perfectly. There's a lot of adjustments in the knee cups, but still having one that fit perfect may change my opinion on the boat a little bit. I really like running the boat. I think those people who are hard shell paddlers at all are going to really appreciate this boat. You can get up on edge a little bit better. The movement in it feels really more like a hard shell. Alpacka says it's not a kayak, it's not a pack raft. I'd say that's definitely true. Its lateral stability is definitely less, and you can see that from the size of the tubes compared to the older model. What I don't like about this model, and why I think they may have included the pump, is that rolling this model is almost more difficult for me. Now, intuitively you would think it would be a lot easier, and in some ways it is because the tubes are smaller, so rolling it in it makes it a little bit easier. The problem with it is that where you're pulling up on the knee cups, you have an extended aluminum rod here, but it's still in the middle of the boat. So what I found is if you don't have enough air in the boat, and when I'm talking enough air, you need it very inflated. If this boat isn't as inflated as it possibly can be, what happens is the boat bends in the center and makes it very difficult to roll. On our older models where we have the thigh straps, we had our thigh straps installed at the high end at the back and at the low end at the very front. So we were pulling from here and here on the boat as we came over. And yes, it was harder to get these large tubes over, but we were pulling the whole boat over during our hip snap. On this boat, you were pulling from right here, and that's why I found that the raft would bend. So yeah, what I ended up doing was just inflating this as much as I possibly could, and then of course the boat was easier to roll. The difficulty with that is we know what happens to these rafts when they hit cold water and the air inside. So you're going to have to carry this with you if you have this boat and you want to feel comfortable rolling in it. So for me personally, would I buy one of these new Alpackalypse models? Absolutely. I love the feel in the water. I like how it's heavier duty. The thing I don't like about it is the knee cups. They fit well, you're secure, but I just don't think they're as nice as thigh straps. They're not as easy to get on and off, and I don't like how they pull in the center of the boat. So I would, and I don't know if Alpacka would do it, but I would request an Alpackalypse made without the knee cups completely so I could put my own thigh straps in it, because I feel thigh straps are still superior to the knee cups, but the rest of the boat, as far as whitewater goes, is a huge step forward. Good. Couple other final thoughts. If you're an owner of an Alpacka raft at all and you run in whitewater, I highly recommend that you call Alpacka and see if you can upgrade to this new seat, because this new seat is a huge upgrade and it feels even far superior to the locking yourself in with a back band. So anybody can upgrade to this new seat. I think that that's a pretty smart move. And the last thing would be that I think Alpacka hit the nail on the head with their description. This boat is not for everyone. Its lateral stability is decreased. Like I said, those people who are comfortable in hard shell boats are going to love this boat. Some people who are really comfortable with the stability of the older Alpacka rafts are going to get in this and have a really hard time, especially if they don't have a very strong brace. There's some changes that I think that Alpacka will probably be making in the future, but it's definitely a huge step up for those of us that are running some of the harder classes of whitewater.